Good morning. Another round of grazing here in the compound because the sunshine and all the moisture that we received made the grasses grow very well, and those here in the compound, they do graze a lot better than elsewhere. The soil is a lot looser because here in this area we did several attempts of excavating things and then abandoned the idea and then changed the idea and excavated again, but in a different way, and so on. Therefore, this requires a lot more maintenance. We also have to do something with our cows, and that will be the next segment.
Una cuerda para los cuernos. Aquí, ¿no?
The guys want to attempt to put the earmarks on the newborn calf, the calf that 5516 gave birth to. So that did not work out, but now it's on to this cow, 0575. That's the one who tried to give birth to a male calf, and the calf was too big for the little cow. So we are trying to extract it in order to save the cow.
Suéltala ahí más o menos donde en su sitio. Ahí, ¿no? Vale, tendríamos que ponerla un poquillo que entrara más abajo. Ahí. Vale. Tira hasta allá. Bueno, porque nos vamos a quedar sin tiro. Vamos a tener que recuperar. Tira para allá, ponte para allá. Allá, ahí. Está fuera. Madre mía, que becerro para la novilla, me cago en sus mulas.
¿Se salió algo? ¿Ya está toda la matriz fuera y todo?
No, esa es la placenta.
That came out very easy, but you can see what happened. The hip was too wide and the birth channel was too narrow, and so so eventually the mother cow kind of squeezed the calf together, and it died because of that. That's very unfortunate, but this is how it is. And what now comes out is the placenta and a little bit of the liquid. So this is nothing bad, it's totally normal. Normally the cow would eat this in order to avoid this being attractive to predators.
Y mira qué culo. Tírale un poco. Tírale así como dirección al chaparro. Cuidado que la vaca puede dar un puntazo. Acá. Tírale a ver si la giramos. Tírale fuerte.
This is an attempt to make her stand up, because when they lay down for too long, something else might get damaged.
Madre mía, qué dilatación tiene la vaca, ¿vale? Ponla de acá, tírale por la derecha. la placenta. ¿A dónde? ¿Qué hacemos?
So that's a positive sign. She wants to stand up.
Se levantará. Como tenga daño en las caderas, no se levanta, ¿eh?
Let's see if she manages. The issue is that the hindquarters might get damaged, and then it's a big problem.
No la veo mal, la vaca.
¿No? Como no se levante,
Pero ese hecho, eso que se esté posicionado, que no esté tendida y que haga además de levantarse, ya haga.
pero como no se levante en las primeras 24 horas, ahí se queda la vaca.
She's been doing a few attempts to stand up. We decided to get the backhoe here, and we have a special tool that helps these animals to stand up. That is important, so that they can stretch their legs, because if not, they will never stand up, and that is a death sentence. So we are trying to avoid that. You can probably hear the backhoe in the background, and shortly they will be here, and then we will do that. This is the tool that allows us to lift the cow up by grabbing their hindquarters, their hips, and then they can stretch the legs.
Engancha esta rama, ¿vale?
Ya está, ya la tienes cogida.
Sí.
Tírale.
And now she's supposed to stand up so that the blood can circulate and the muscles there get moving again, and she gains control over her hindquarters. She definitely started to put some weight on her hindquarters, on those feet there, which is why we lowered the boom a little bit. So it's looking good, but it's not done yet.
Mira, sí. A ver qué hace.
Okay, that was too soon.
Bicho, ¿no?
Need to get her up again.
24 horas se muere.
Oh, that didn't work out. Need to do it again.
Que lo hemos manchado y tú.
Si ahora tienes que aflojar, afloja.
Now we are letting her hang in there for a little bit longer. That first attempt was simply too fast, too quick. This is a shot of antibiotics, just in case. There might be something that some bacteria got in, and then this will create a huge problem. So this is a preventive measure.
A ver qué me ha dado. Tírale fuerte.
Una pincha atrás.
Ponemos 20 solo, ¿no? Lo ponemos más.
De 20, mañana le ponemos los 20.
Suelta.
She was standing up. I wasn't filming. Took maybe 30 seconds, but eventually she fell down again. So up we go again, but it's looking good. So just needs a bit more
Dale para
time.
atrás. Y se levanta.
Atrás como le doy.
Recogiendo. Ahí. Vámonos.
She's definitely trying to walk, but if those legs are not strong enough, then she will fall over again. So we try to keep her in this for as much time as possible to improve the chances. There's also another consideration that I can share while I stand here guard to watch her and not do something stupid. So I shared that we tried to remove the remaining bull. It has an earmark 5520, and that bull is probably the one that got her pregnant, and she's pretty small and the calf is pretty big, which is why this did not work out. So the idea is to castrate all the bulls that we have, regardless whether they are small or big, just in order to stop any propagation at the moment. And that should then also protect her, because the moment nature gets her in heat again, that bull will jump on her again, and then we will be in the same place. She is simply too small. Of course, now the issue is what we do is extensive ranching. That means there is a complete herd, and of course things happen as they happen. And if an animal is not ready for something, then that's bad luck. So in a more controlled way, and now we are then crossing over into factory farming at the other end of the spectrum, of course you would be able to keep them in several places, or even completely separated in a barn, compounds, and however you want to call all this. And we don't have any of that. We don't have a barn. We don't have any place to lock away an animal for whatever reason. So they're always out in the field, in the forest here, and do whatever the animals want to do and what their instincts tell them to do. So we are very, very close to nature. But nature is not nice, and nature does not really care. Things happen as they happen, and because it's biologically sound, even if it involves at the end as a consequent the death of an animal. So that's very unfortunate. So now we interfere a little bit by castrating all the bulls, so that none of that happens, and the female animals can grow without becoming pregnant. If at a later point we change direction again, well, we can then introduce a new bull and look for one that is not so big, so that things are a little bit easier. But on the other hand, we've been speculating and probably found the answer. This cow here is quite small, and the other three that were born around the same time are equally in size. So we think that they have not received the nutrition that would have been required. Of course, that's the issue. We are trying to restore the soil and don't have enough forage all the time, and then this might be one of the results. So from a ranching perspective, failure. But then ranching is not our main topic. The animals, I have to admit, are just a tool to restore the soil. This is not our business, neither is it so important. Of course, we don't wish any harm, neither do we want to provoke any harm, but this might be the case. So now we are taking the necessary steps to stop propagation, and then let everything stabilize. And like I said, we are removing our cattle, but it's a transition. And the alternative would be to sell the whole herd to a slaughterhouse. But I don't want to have 11-month-old animals be killed just because I don't want them anymore. So that is not the way. So there's nothing against turning them into beef, but I insist that this is being done when they are definitely a grown-up, an adult. And after all, it's also an economic thing. The adult animal gives a lot more kilos on the scale. And therefore, what we are getting paid is a lot more. So I give you a figure. The calves that we had to remove because we got an order to do so, because of the tuberculosis, they had a carcass weight of around 100 kilos. while the skinniest cow that was in the group came to 270. So there's a huge difference. But I still don't have the euro amount yet. Once I know it, I will share it. The whole herd is down there in this little paddock. There were some good forage and we let them eat it. And now they've been resting and processing the food in their rumen. And shortly the guys will take them out and take them to where the pigs are in CT1. There's also a little bit of forage, and according to our statistics, this is also the area that we should graze next. And they will spend the night there. And tomorrow we will start a quick loop. So maybe an hour or two in each of the areas that are now available. Just to eat the tip, not the whole plant, not to the ground. Because now there is sun and moisture. So we want to leave the solar panels intact for as much time as possible so that the regrowth is a lot faster. The calf there that didn't make it, probably because the cow squeezed the calf too much there in the center, will end up in a compost pile so that the nutrients stay here. We do not participate in any scheme of removal, and instead they turn into compost, and that compost will then later be used to grow plants. So it's a cycle as it should be. Now the gate has been opened and the whole herd can go from down below to CT1, and they will pass us here, the wounded cow and myself, and let's see what will happen. The guys are trying to put the ear marked on the new calf of 5516, and the rest of the herd also should go up to CT1. Putting on the ear mark is always a challenge, because of course the cow will defend the calf and you have to be a little bit careful and quick. And now we got a visitor here. And I better scare that visitor away, because an animal in distress in the herd causes the others to come, and they want to inspect, and depending on what it is, they try to kill it. So don't think what you have seen probably in some social media posts, that the whole herd comes to offer their condolences. It's just the contrary. So an animal in a bad situation is actually, you can hear the bull, so that is a negative sign. Because the animal in distress means danger, and the bull might actually try to kill her. So that's now a little bit tense situation. This one is a young bull. It's the very same thing. He is screaming danger because there's blood, and might be an issue. So now the guys are trying to lure them away. Food is more important. So now I'm relieved here of my watchguard duty, because now they all will follow the little vendor, because they understand that it means food. can be a tense moment. But they're not aggressive like other types of bovines. But of course you have to respect their instincts. And like I said, some people, they enjoy images. I remember one, let me describe it. There was a bull in the mud, could not move, and another bull was actually pushing him down in order to kill him. But people in that social media post were talking about, oh, how nice, how a lot of empathy is being shown. All the other animals of the herd are around him, and that bull that was actually pushing, to those who know about this, the people in social media thought, oh, his brother, the other bull, is trying to help him, but his brother was trying to kill him. And that is what happens, because it makes biological sense. If there is an animal in distress in a herd, that animal puts everybody else into danger. So it is better that predators come and kill and eat that one in distress instead of attacking the rest of the herd. Nature is very logic, but cruel. And nature has no idea of ethics or moral or empathy and all that. That is a human thing, our emotions. And a lot of people detached from nature get this wrong. And that is very unfortunate. So this is how things really are. And of course we are trying to help as much as we can, but there are limits. And as you have seen a few seconds ago, this was not empathy. This was to protect everybody else from the danger represented by these two here. And also that piece. I think in English it's also called placenta. So that is what usually comes out together with the calf. After birth, I think, is another way to describe this. And usually the cow eats that in order to remove it from the area so that this does not attract any predators, because they smell the blood. And there was actually a dog roaming here, and we had to chase the dog away for the very same reason. So this is how things are. And she's pretty tired, which is why she's now like that. She has been done quite a few good movements, but now she's tired. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do now when the guys come back. And you might imagine, so it is close to the end of the shift, and of course they are hungry, and then they will drive to the village, and in the case of Angel it means an hour drive, and then nobody will come back. So we will then probably lower this boom and let her be, which is quite unfortunate, because in other circumstances you would expect that this continues until she is okay. But humans have some needs too, and one of that is food. So we cannot spend ourselves and stretch ourselves thin or exploit ourselves just to hold up whatever wants to happen. Of course, you can run a system where you have 3 shifts, but that of course is very expensive. So there again are the limitations. And extensive ranching also means that you have your herd of cattle with a few dogs somewhere in the mountain, and you come every few days. And what happens during those days happens. This is not the same as in those situations where you have them every night in a stable. But I think she's tired and might actually be able to stand on her own feet. Let's hope that's the case. Okay, that's a positive sign. So, well done. So that's a more natural position that allows her to get up on her own.
¿Nos llevamos por abajo?
Pero lo tiramos.
Nothing special, that is just from the fire in the cortico. We are not trying to make a special compost, so that was just ash from the fire. And while the backhoe loops around, I will take the shortcut and meet them over there where we have that compost pile for these cases. A peach over there has flowered, but the others are lagging behind. There are more peaches in here, but they have not yet flowered. But something is happening, and that kinch here is also trying to get started. The garlic that we had in here has also come back. We did not harvest it, so this is why it is coming back, and we let it be because we have garlic elsewhere. This is basically to help the trees. I've been told that it helps to keep pests away and also rodents from digging up and biting their roots. So therefore that's a good thing, I think. And maybe these trees will now flower and produce something. I can see some sprouts there. That might actually work out this time. We need to empty these buckets. They contain human manure, and we need to add this water so that we can recycle the bucket. And you can still see remnants of an animal there. That was a cow, and it did not decompose well because it was exposed. Now with the straw and the ashes, that should then also decompose and disappear. There are quite a few animals in there, unfortunately, but this is the way of nature. This is an attempt to protect it from the UV rays so that the bacteria can work. That was the reason why the other did not decompose very well. So that's an interesting discovery. Apparently some wildlife, we suspect foxes, has been digging here in order to get to this. That is a bowl that we put in here, and they have opened it up, and now we see the bones. So I think we should cover it again. Just a little bit.